Are you ready to make newborn feeding easier and more enjoyable for both you and your little one? Whether you're a first-time parent or looking for ways to improve your current feeding routine, these simple yet powerful hacks will transform the way you approach feeding. From mastering proper feeding positions to ensuring your baby feels calm and comfortable, these tips will not only help you navigate the first weeks with confidence, but also ensure your baby gets the nutrition they need to thrive. Keep reading to discover life-saving newborn feeding hacks that every parent should know. Get the right latching technique. Breastfeeding. Mastering the correct latch is essential for successful breastfeeding. When your baby latches onto the breast properly, it not only ensures they're getting enough milk, but also helps prevent painful issues like nipple soreness or cracked skin. To achieve a good latch, your baby should have their mouth wide open before latching, covering as much of the areola as possible, not just the nipple. Their lips should be flanged out, creating a seal around your breast, which allows them to effectively draw milk. Taking a time to position your baby correctly can make a huge difference in both your comfort and your baby's feeding experience. A proper latch also ensures that your baby is feeding efficiently, which is important for their growth and your milk supply. When the latch is deep and comfortable, your baby can feed for the right amount of time without struggling, helping them stay full and satisfied. If you're unsure whether your baby has latched correctly, don't hesitate to seek help from a lactation consultant. With some practice and guidance, both you and your baby will find the best position and technique that works for you, making breastfeeding a much smoother experience. Keep a feeding schedule. Bottle feeding. Establishing a feeding schedule for bottle feeding is vital in the first few weeks of your baby's life. Newborns typically feed every 2 to 3 hours, so keeping track of their feeding times helps ensure they're getting the necessary nutrition to support their growth and development. Sticking to a consistent feeding routine can also help regulate your baby's hunger cues, making it easier to know when they're ready for the next feed. As your baby gets older, you may find that their feeding times become more predictable, which makes it easier to plan your day around their needs. In addition to helping your baby, having a feeding schedule can also provide you with a sense of structure and balance during a time that may feel chaotic. It allows you to stay organized and ensures that your baby isn't overfed or underfed. If your baby is on formula, make sure to measure the amount according to their needs, as bottle feeding can sometimes lead to overfeeding if you're not careful. Keeping a regular feeding schedule also helps you plan around sleep, playtime, and other daily activities, making it easier to manage your baby's routine. Try feeding on demand, breastfeeding, or bottle. Feeding on demand is an approach where you respond to your baby's hunger cues rather than strictly adhering to a schedule. Newborns have small stomachs and often need to feed more frequently than every 2 to 3 hours, especially in the early weeks. When you feed on demand, you are meeting your baby's nutritional needs based on their hunger rather than just the clock. Babies show various signs when they're hungry, such as sucking on their hands, rooting, or making sucking motions with their mouth. By recognizing and responding to these cues, you help your baby regulate their own hunger patterns and encourage healthy feeding habits. Feeding on demand also helps to establish a strong bond between you and your baby, as it allows you to be more attuned to their needs. It can help alleviate stress for both you and your baby because there's no need to worry about rigid schedules or forcing a feed. Whether breastfeeding or bottle feeding, this method allows for a more natural, relaxed feeding experience. Plus, it ensures your baby is getting enough milk, as they are feeding whenever they feel hungry, promoting healthy growth and reducing the chances of overfeeding or underfeeding. Create a calm feeding environment. A calm and quiet environment plays a crucial role in ensuring that your baby feeds effectively. Newborns can easily become distracted or overwhelmed, and a noisy or chaotic space can interfere with their ability to focus on feeding. To create the best setting for your baby, try dimming the lights, reducing background noise, and eliminating unnecessary distractions. A serene environment helps your baby feel more relaxed, which encourages them to latch better and feed more efficiently. It also helps you stay more present and focused during the feeding process, making it a more enjoyable experience for both of you. In addition to promoting better feeding, a calm environment can also ease your own stress. Parenting, especially in the early weeks, can be overwhelming, and feeding time is often when parents feel the most pressure. By intentionally creating a peaceful space for both you and your baby, you foster a sense of calm and connection. This not only supports your baby's ability to feed, but also helps you establish a comforting routine that can become an essential part of both your lives. Over time, your baby will come to associate this peaceful environment with feeding, which can help them feel more secure and relaxed during each session. Monitor baby's hunger and fullness cues. Understanding and responding to your baby's hunger and fullness cues is essential for successful feeding. Babies are born with natural instincts that tell them when they're hungry or when they've had enough. Hunger cues can include sucking on their hands, rooting, or turning their head towards the breast or bottle. As a parent, it's important to pay attention to these signs and feed your baby when they show them rather than waiting for them to cry. This not only ensures that your baby is getting the right amount of food, but also promotes a positive feeding experience without unnecessary stress for either of you. Equally important is recognizing when your baby is full. Signs of fullness include turning away from the breast or bottle, falling asleep during the feed, or simply losing interest in continuing to suck. Overfeeding can lead to discomfort, spitting up, or poor digestion, so it's important to stop feeding when your baby shows signs of being full. By learning to read these cues, you can avoid the stress of trying to figure out if your baby is still hungry or has had enough, which allows for a more peaceful feeding routine and promotes healthy growth and comfort for your little one. Use different feeding positions. Exploring different feeding positions can make a big difference in your baby's comfort and feeding success. Each baby is unique, and some may prefer certain positions over others, whether you're breastfeeding or bottle feeding. For breastfeeding, positions like the cradle hold, cross cradle hold, and football hold are popular, and each offers different benefits depending on your comfort and your baby's needs. The right position ensures a good latch, minimizes discomfort for you, and promotes efficient milk intake for your baby. Switching between positions can also help prevent nipple soreness or engorgement for breastfeeding mothers, giving both you and your baby a more relaxed feeding experience. For bottle feeding, positioning your baby at an angle that's comfortable for both of you is essential. Holding your baby slightly upright can help reduce the risk of gas or reflux, and it encourages them to take breaks during the feed. It also allows you to monitor the flow of milk, ensuring that your baby doesn't take in too much at once. Trying different positions until you find the one that works best for your baby can also help prevent ear infections or discomfort during feeds. By experimenting with various positions, you'll be able to find what makes both you and your baby most comfortable, which ultimately leads to a more enjoyable and efficient feeding routine. Ensure proper burping techniques. Burping your baby after every feed is essential for preventing discomfort and gas buildup. Babies tend to swallow air while feeding, which can lead to bloating, irritability, and even spitting up. By burping your baby, you help release this trapped air, reducing the likelihood of these issues. The most effective burping techniques include holding your baby upright against your chest, supporting their head and neck, and gently patting or rubbing their back. Another common method is sitting your baby on your lap, supporting their chest with one hand, and using the other to pat their back. It may take a few minutes for the air to be released, but making burping a regular part of the feeding routine can help your baby feel more comfortable. Sometimes, babies may need to be burped more than once during a feeding, especially if they are feeding for a longer period or if they are particularly gassy. Even if your baby doesn't seem to burp immediately, it's still a good idea to give it a try before moving on to the next phase of the feeding. You can also experiment with different burping positions, such as gently rocking your baby or changing the angle slightly, to see what works best. Burping may seem like a small step, but it plays a key role in keeping your baby content and preventing discomfort, ensuring they enjoy their feed without issues later on. Parenting, especially in the early weeks, can be both beautiful and challenging, but with these newborn feeding tips, you're already taking a big step toward making the journey a little easier. Whether it's keeping track of hunger cues, experimenting with feeding positions, or simply creating a calm, nurturing environment, these small adjustments can lead to a more comfortable and positive feeding experience for both you and your baby. Remember, every parent has their own unique journey, and it's okay to learn and adapt as you go. Keep trusting your instincts, and know that with every little step, you're making big wins in your baby's growth and your own parenting experience.